William James, born in 1842, wasn't your typical scholar. He initially pursued medicine, fascinated by the human mind. However, James found traditional lab research stifling. This led him to psychology, a field then in its infancy. James became a founding father of American psychology. He viewed the mind as a flowing stream of thoughts and emotions. In 1890, James published The Principles of Psychology. It laid the groundwork for functionalism. James's impact extended beyond academia. He made psychology accessible to the everyday person. Functionalism, as the name suggests, focuses on the function of the mind. Instead of asking, "What is consciousness made of?" functionalists ask, "What is consciousness for?" This approach shifted the emphasis from the structure of the mind to its purpose and how it helps us navigate the world. Imagine a hammer. Structuralism, the dominant school of thought at the time, would meticulously analyze the hammer's components: the wooden handle, the metal head, the shape, and size. Functionalism, however, would be more interested in what the hammer does, its purpose of driving nails and building structures. Functionalism sees the mind as a tool for survival and adaptation. It investigates how our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors help us solve problems, make decisions, and interact with our environment. This pragmatic approach resonated with the American spirit of practicality and individualism. It moved away from the introspective, lab-based methods of European psychology and embraced a more dynamic, real-world perspective. Functionalism, though a multifaceted school of thought, rests on several key principles. One central tenet is the emphasis on mental processes over mental structures. Functionalists were less concerned with identifying the building blocks of consciousness and more interested in understanding how these elements work together to create our experiences. Another crucial aspect is the focus on adaptation. Functionalists viewed the mind as a product of evolution, shaped by natural selection to help us survive and thrive in our environment. They believed that our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors could be best understood by examining their adaptive value. Furthermore, functionalism embraced a practical, problem-solving approach. Instead of getting bogged down in abstract theories, functionalists sought to understand how psychology could be applied to real-world issues, such as education, work, and mental health. This emphasis on practicality resonated with the American pragmatism of the time. William James's ideas had a profound and lasting impact on the field of psychology. His emphasis on the stream of consciousness challenged the static view of the mind. His work paved the way for later schools of thought such as behaviorism and cognitive psychology. James's influence extended beyond the realm of psychology. His writings on pragmatism, a philosophy that emphasizes the practical consequences of ideas, resonated with thinkers in various fields. His work on the psychology of religious experience helped to legitimize the study of religion from a scientific perspective. Furthermore, James's engaging writing style and his ability to make complex ideas accessible to a wider audience helped to popularize psychology. He brought the study of the mind out of the ivory tower and into the public consciousness. His legacy continues to inspire psychologists and thinkers today, reminding us of the importance of approaching the mind with curiosity, open-mindedness, and a focus on its purpose and function. Section 5. Functionalism in Action, Real-World Applications. Functionalism's emphasis on practicality and problem-solving led to its application in various real-world settings. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. For example, in education, functionalist principles informed new teaching methods that focused on the needs and abilities of individual students. In the workplace, functionalism inspired the development of industrial organizational psychology. This branch of psychology applies psychological principles to improve workplace efficiency, employee morale, and job satisfaction. Functionalism's focus on adaptation also had implications for understanding mental health. Psychologists began to view mental disorders not just as breakdowns in the mind's machinery, but also as maladaptive responses to environmental stressors. This perspective paved the way for new therapeutic approaches that focused on helping individuals adapt to their environment and develop coping mechanisms. Section 6. Beyond the Ivory Tower, Functionalism's Cultural Impact. Functionalism's influence wasn't confined to academic halls and scientific journals. Its tenets seeped into the broader culture, shaping how people viewed themselves and the world around them. The idea that the mind serves a purpose, that it's a tool for navigating the complexities of life, resonated with the American spirit of pragmatism and self-reliance. Functionalism's emphasis on the individual's ability to adapt and thrive in their environment contributed to the burgeoning self-help movement. The notion that we could improve our lives by understanding and harnessing the power of our minds took hold in popular culture. This cultural shift is evident in the rise of self-improvement books, workshops, and philosophies that emphasize personal growth, resilience, and the pursuit of happiness. Section 7. A lasting impression, the significance of James's work. William James's contributions to psychology and beyond remain significant today. His pioneering work helped to establish psychology as a legitimate scientific discipline in the United States. His emphasis on the function of the mind rather than just its structure revolutionized the field, paving the way for new avenues of research and understanding. James's impact transcends his specific theories and findings. He embodied a spirit of intellectual curiosity, open-mindedness, and a willingness to challenge conventional thinking. His writings are characterized by a rare combination of scientific rigor and literary eloquence, making complex ideas accessible and engaging for a wide audience. James's legacy continues to inspire generations of psychologists and thinkers to approach the study of the mind with the same sense of wonder, pragmatism, and respect for the complexity of human experience. Section 8. The evolution of functionalism from theory to practice. Functionalism, like all scientific schools of thought, didn't remain static. It evolved over time, its core principles influencing and being influenced by new discoveries and emerging perspectives. One significant development was the rise of behaviorism in the early 20th century. Behaviorists, while sharing functionalism's emphasis on observable behavior, took a more radical approach, rejecting the study of mental processes altogether. However, functionalism's focus on the adaptive purpose of behavior laid some of the groundwork for behaviorism's emphasis on learning and conditioning. Cognitive psychology, which emerged in the mid-20th century, brought the focus back to mental processes, albeit with a more rigorous scientific approach than early functionalism. Cognitive psychologists study how we think, learn, remember, and make decisions, areas that early functionalists were also interested in exploring. Section 9. Criticisms and controversies, examining the counter-arguments. Functionalism, despite its significant contributions, wasn't without its critics. One of the main criticisms leveled against it was its lack of scientific rigor. Critics argued that functionalism's focus on the purpose of mental processes was too subjective and difficult to test empirically. They pointed to the lack of controlled experiments and quantifiable data in early functionalist research. Another criticism was that functionalism's emphasis on adaptation sometimes led to circular reasoning. Critics argued that explaining a behavior by its function didn't provide a real explanation, as it simply stated that the behavior exists because it serves a purpose. Despite these criticisms, functionalism's focus on the purpose of behavior and its emphasis on studying the mind in its natural environment paved the way for more ecologically valid approaches to psychology. Section 10. Bridging the gap, functionalism and modern psychology. While functionalism as a distinct school of thought may have faded into the background of psychology's history, its influence can still be felt in many areas of modern psychology. Evolutionary psychology, for example, draws heavily on the functionalist idea that mental processes are shaped by natural selection. Cognitive psychology, too, while focusing on the mechanisms of thought, acknowledges the adaptive purpose of cognitive processes. The field of human-computer interaction, or HCI, borrows from functionalism's emphasis on understanding how people interact with their environment, in this case, the digital environment. HCI professionals design user interfaces and digital experiences that are intuitive, efficient, and meet the needs of users. Section 11, A Timeless Legacy, James and the Future of Psychology. William James, the pragmatic philosopher-psychologist, left an indelible mark on the field of psychology. His ideas, born out of a desire to understand the mind in its full complexity, continue to resonate with us today. His emphasis on the stream of consciousness, the importance of individual experience, and the adaptive purpose of the mind remain relevant in our quest to unravel the mysteries of the human psyche. As we venture further into the uncharted territories of the mind, armed with new technologies and a deeper understanding of the brain, we can draw inspiration from James's legacy. His spirit of inquiry, his embrace of complexity, and his unwavering belief in the power of the human mind serve as guiding lights in our ongoing exploration of what it means to be human.